Hey guys, it's Tina and I am back with a fall tutorial. I know. I'm not even about fall, I'm like all about summertime, but I do still love fall makeup. So that's what we're gonna do today. And I pulled out my Viseart palettes. Now I know these are expensive palettes. Ain't nobody got time for that, but I do have them in my collection and I figure there are some people that do have these palettes as well. This is the dark matte, which is like fall colors. Like this is a fall palette. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. And then you have the neutral matte swan palette. I know a lot of people have this one. They may not have this one, but don't worry, don't fret. If you don't have this exact palette, you are sure to be able to find shades like this in your collection. You just need dark orange, like a burnt orange brown, those kinds of colors, like dark burgundies, but they're all matte, so it's an all matte eye except for the inner tear duct area where I used another new product. So I'm using a lot of new products in this to test them out, to see how I like them, and to showcase them to you guys in case you are curious about how they work and if you're interested in trying them out yourself. So if you want to see this fall look or fall into fall look, or my first fall look of the season, then stay tuned and I'll talk to you soon. So here's an up close view of the look that we are going for. So let's get right into it. So I already filled in my eyebrows and now I'm going in with some eyeshadow primer. This is my NARS Pro Prime Smudge Proof eyeshadow base, and I'm just going to apply that all over my lid and just blend it out with my fingers to ensure that there is no creasing. Next I'm going in with a skin toned eyeshadow base. This is my Lane Low Pro Longwear Paint Pot from MAC. And I'm just going to apply that all over my lid using my Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush. And then go in with my finger just to blend it all in and warm it up with my skin. Next I'm going to grab some concealer. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade Cafe, which is number 30. And I'm going to apply that directly under my brow and blend it down using my Max Coverage Concealer Brush from Bare Essentials. Just blend it downwards towards the brow bone area. And then go back in with my Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush and blend out the edges so it blends in with the base that we have down from before. Before we start applying the rest of the eyeshadows, I'm going in with a neutral transition shade. This is just a skin tone color, and I'm grabbing my Viseart Neutral Mattes palette. It's the number 1, and I'm grabbing the shade in the corner, which is a caramel brown, on my IT Cosmetics number 119 all over shadow brush, and just applying that in a sweep across my brow bone area and crease. Then I'm going in with the neutral brown in the second row of the palette. And I'm going to grab that on the same brush and just concentrate it now on the outer crease area, just to add some definition and some depth to that color, and then just blend it out. Now I'm grabbing the number 4 Dark Mattes palette, also from Viseart, and I'm grabbing my 231 Luxe Petite Crease Brush from Zoeva, and I'm going to grab a dark burnt orange shade from the palette. And I'm just going to concentrate it just on that outer crease area that we did before. But this brush is small and pointed, so just going back and forth is going to build up dimension and give it kind of a soft cut crease effect. So just go back and forth until you have the color deposited. And then I'm going in with a blending brush. This is the Hakuhodo J5523 brush, and I'm just going to go around the edges of the color to make sure it's nice and diffused upwards onto the brow bone. So just go back and forth and blend that color out. Then back into the Dark Mattes palette, I'm going to grab that burnt orange shade and the more red orange shade beneath it on a Zoeva 232 Luxe shader brush, and just apply the color on the outer crease area using back and forth motions just to build up that color. But we're not trying to really get great pigmentation, we're just trying to get a nice pop of color. Now we're going to go back into the Neutral Mattes palette and grab that deep, dark kind of red-based brown on the Luxe Petite Crease Brush, that 231 from Zoeva, and apply that color again, concentrating it on the outer V area. And once you have that color deposited, go back in with the blend-in brush, that 5523, and blend out the edges, just to make sure everything blends seamlessly together and we have a gradient effect going from dark in the crease to a kind of orange outer haze. Back to the Dark Mattes palette, I'm grabbing that brighter orange shade on the classic shader brush from Zoeva again, and we're just going to deposit that now directly on the center of the lid. Again, we're getting a pop of orange, but it's not going to be too overwhelming. And then back to the Neutral Mattes palette, I'm grabbing the two beigey shades in the palette at the top, the two lightest beige shades on that classic shader brush, and just applying it on the inner lid area now, blending it back and forth just to brighten up that inner lid and to make it all come together. And then back into the Dark Mattes palette and grabbing that kind of deep plummy red shade and that deep burnt orange and just building it up on the outer lid again to create a gradient, just making sure we have the colors exactly how we want them. For the brow bone highlight, I'm using those two lightest shades in the palette. I'm picking up a little bit of both. It's the light ivory and the light beige shade on a MAC 252 and applying it just under the brow and blending it downwards. For the lower lash line, I'm grabbing the Sephora Contour Matte Gel Eyeliner in the shade Sly Like a Fox, which is number 10. I'm going to apply that on my lower lash line area all the way into the inner tear duct, and then work quickly to blend out the edge of that color with a MAC 242 small shader brush. And these colors set down, so you want to work quickly to make sure that you blend out the edges so there are no harsh lines. Then you're going to the Dark Mattes palette and we're picking up that lighter orange that we used before on the lid and just apply it over that base, that eyeliner base. And then you're going to grab the deeper orange and also apply it, but you're applying it now closer to the actual lashes. Once you have that, it's going to probably look a little bit intense, so go in with your blending brush. Again, I'm using the same brush and just blending out. The edges kind of blend out the color so it doesn't look so intense. On the lower waterline, I'm going to use a dark brown eyeliner, and this is the Dip Down Fluid Line from MAC, just on an eyeliner brush, just to add a little bit of depth to that waterline, but I'm not using a black because a black is just too intense. Then for my upper lash line, I'm going in with the Tarte's Clay Paint Liner in the shade Black. I don't think there's another shade, but I'm going to use this and the liner brush that came with it. And I'm going to apply that to my upper lash line and create a very subtle wing. I'm not doing anything too intense, but I do want to pull the look together, so I am applying a winged eyeliner. And then for my mascara, I'm using a sandwich of the Clinique Chubby Lash Fattening Mascara and the Too Faced Better Than Sex on my upper lash line area. And then on my lower lashes, I'm going to use my MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash Mascara just to give us some fullness on that lower lash line. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply false eyelashes. I'm using the Style 100 from Eylure, and they're the naturalized version, so they're nice and full, but they're very natural looking. And then we'll go ahead and finish up the rest of the face. So here go the eyes completely done. So let's move on with the rest of the face. Alright guys, so now we're going to move on to the face, and I did use my Girl On Lingerie de Peau foundation just to even out my skin, and my shade is 24 in case you're curious. And now I'm going in with kind of a matte bronzer for me. It is the shade Heat from NARS. It's one of their pressed powders, and it's just a couple of shades darker than my natural skin tone. I'm going to grab that on a Hakuhodo B531 brush. It's just a very large powder brush with a bit of an angle. So what I'm going to do is apply this powder to my hairline area, just in my forehead, and this is going to darken up that area because the perimeter of our faces, darker women tend to be darker than the center of our face. So I'm going to kind of accentuate that or trick that into happening with powder. So I'm going to grab the powder, apply it to my hairline and a little bit in my temple. I'm also going to bring it down and do a pre-contour with this powder, just applying it to the hollows of my cheeks to give my face a little bit of dimension in shape. So apply that to the hollows of the cheeks, blend it in, and also along my chin area, so on my jawline, just blend that down also, and that's going to create a very natural looking shadow on my skin. And then for the actual contour, I am going in with the Becca Low Light Highlight Perfecting palette. This is the pressed version, and it does have a beautiful contour shade. And I'm gonna apply that in the hollows of my cheek using the Shape brush from Marc Jacobs. This is my favorite contour brush. It just blends out product really well, but it applies it in a nice precise spot because of the flat shape. So I'm just going to apply very little of this contour powder in the hollows of my cheeks. It's going to give us a little bit more dimension, and because we did kind of a pre-contour, it's just going to give a very natural gradient. So it's going to be a little bit darker in the hollows of my cheeks, but it won't look like, oh crap, she put a stripe of darker powder right there. It will kind of blend in with the other powder that we placed down before. And then for my blush, I am using a beautiful blush from Becca. This is their mineralized blush in the shade Songbird. And I'm gonna pop that on my cheeks using my Chikuhodo GSN number 04 brush. And this brush is a beautiful brush for applying blush. Say that 3 times fast. It has a nice domed shape and it's very soft. So I'm just gonna grab some of this shade. This is kind of a cinnamon, I would call it like a terracotta color with a little bit of yellow shimmer. It's really gorgeous. I'm just gonna pop that on my cheek area and blend it in. It's a really gorgeous fall color. It's a nice fall blush, as well as being just an everyday blush for the entire season for darker skin, because it really just complements your skin and gives the skin a natural flush versus like a bright pink or a purple. You know what I'm talking about, right? And I'm gonna grab one of the new illuminators from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the shade Peach Nectar. And I'm grabbing that on a Inglot 4SS brush. It's a very small, almost like a very large blender brush for the eye area, but it's great for applying highlight in precise areas. So I'm just gonna grab some of that color on the tips and apply it just on the high points of my cheekbone. So right there, and then blend it out. And these colors blend out seamlessly. They're really pretty. They do give a very soft highlight to the skin. And I'm also going to grab a little bit of that color and pop it just on the center of my nose to give a highlight. And that is going to actually kind of make my nose look thinner at that point. Someone told me in a comment in my recent video, oh my god, shut up, you're ugly with your big nose. And I'm like, yeah, I do have a big nose. I know that. It looks very big on camera, even more so. And I'm not ugly though, so you can take that and shove it. So I'm just gonna pop that on the center of my nose. It's gonna give my nose a little bit of a more defined bridge. And then I'm also gonna pop a little bit of that just on the bridge. Again, it's gonna give my nose a little bit more of a little point, so it looks a little cute like a button nose. And then I'm gonna grab the powder we used to bronze our skin and darken up our hairline. This is the heat powder again, and a Smith 124 brush. It's the angled, I think they call this a contour brush. I'm gonna use this and apply it just down the sides of my nose, just again to give some definition, to make my big old nose look smaller. So that's what I'm gonna do. And if in case you're curious about these Smith brushes, I don't know what to think about them just yet. They're nice and soft, they feel really nice, but then they splay a bit. The shape is nice. I like the design overall, but I'm still worried about the bristles actually splaying a lot. Even when I wash it and try to shape it with a brush guard, it still splays a bit. So I'm worried about that. And they're very pricey, and then the shipment was crazy. So I don't know how to feel about these just yet. I just don't know how to feel. Anyway, let's move on to the lips. For the lips, I'm using a new color here from MAC. This is the shade Tuned In. It is one of their Vamplified lip glosses. And this is a new formula from MAC. It reminds me of the Kissable lip glosses, but it almost feels like it has a little bit more pigmentation. Not that it feels like it, it looks like it has a little bit more pigmentation. Beautiful, beautiful nude shade for darker skin. I think this is a great, just everyday nude, especially with the fall season coming up. We want some deeper nudes. This is beautiful. So again, it's Tuned In. I'm applying that just to my lips, and I don't need a liner. I don't need anything additional. It gives me nice pigmentation. I have some gloss. It's some nice sheen. So yeah, that is going to finish up the look. Hopefully you guys enjoy this tutorial. It's okay. I'm okay with fall makeup. I'm just not okay with fall and winter and what comes, you know, winter that comes after fall. I'm not about it. fall I can kind of deal with. I like the trees, the cooler weather is it's okay as long as it stays like in the 70s. I'm okay. Once it starts going down, I'm not about it. But I do love fall makeup, so hopefully you guys enjoyed my first fall tutorial of the season. And yeah, I will leave a full list of products used down below in the information box, the description box, as well as links to my Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook accounts where you can follow me along until my next video, which will be very soon. I'll talk to you. And don't forget to hit like, favorites, and subscribe if you haven't already. And definitely go ahead and share with your friends. I'll talk to you soon, guys. Bye.